Welcome to episode 18 of Two Dimensional Champions. I am Julian.
Oh wait, fuck! We don't know what we're doing next.
Oh shit, we don't know what we're doing. Oh god, we really don't. This is the last episode of Two Dimensional Champions.
From now on, we'll only be doing shorts.
Yeah. Well, how about we do Bleach again next week?
Like the second season or whatever?
Yeah, we'll just do like 5 episodes. We'll do 5 random
How about we do
episodes.
Roka again?
Yeah. Yeah. Was it over?
I think
many
there's like one more episode.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because we can do another
was it
one.
12 or 13 episodes?
12.
Okay, then there's one more episode.
Okay. Well, at least it's not like Blood Blockade Battlefront where the 12th episode just never aired. It still hasn't aired. I mean, I think the Blu-ray is... It might be on the last Blu-ray, but I don't think people know.
I've been watching and really enjoy God Eater.
Do you want to do that next?
For sure.
Yeah, let's do... I mean, why not? I mean, we don't really...
There's only 4 episodes now. I'm not exactly sure when... the 5th episode comes out on Tuesday at... So, the 5th episode comes out in an hour.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, so next week we'll be doing God Eater. So watch the first 5 episodes of that.
And now everyone knows how structured and organized we are.
Yeah, no, that was a nice behind-the-scenes look at the intricate negotiations involved with when we, See, this is what happens when people don't recommend a show for us to watch.
This is why we can't have or do have.
We just have
things. I don't know.
Yeah, we just have to slap some shit together, make it seem like this was the plan all along.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yes.
Bleach.
And you're Julian / Julian, and I'm Thaddeus / Thadinator. And get Bleach today.
Do you have a Twitter yet, Thadinator?
I mean, it is. It's Thadinator. We don't have a... I haven't been on it. But I have.
Yeah, but can you access your Twitter?
Let me see.
I'm Julian on Twitter.
Way to rub it in, man. Way to rub it in.
Yeah, well, I use it to let people know on Twitter about the webcomic that I do. And if you were on Twitter, we could let people know collectively about the podcast. Because I feel just a little bad. Just being like. Oh, yeah, there's this podcast I do. There's another person who does it, but he doesn't have a Twitter. So, I mean, do you actually exist if you don't have a Twitter? I don't know.
Well, it says for security purposes my account has been locked. But I do have a Twitter. And apparently I'm following 611 people, and I don't know how that happened, so...
Oh, it probably got hacked.
Yeah, this is why I can't have nice things. Anyway, I'll figure that out later.
So we went back in time to 2005, and we watched the first 5 episodes of Bleach, which is pretty amazing. We developed time travel and got all that done in just a week, which is pretty sweet.
Starting to go to the past, not quite yet in the future. Working on it.
Yeah, and actually even cooler, we spent like a month, almost like we spent 5 weeks in the past, right? So that's pretty cool. How was October 2005 for you?
Cold.
Cold, yeah.
Was it cold? I'm assuming it was cold.
Shouldn't have blown right into the mic.
I think I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
You're like, let the beat drop.
I think I was in high school, so
I was still a virgin.
So it sucked.
So,
Was I?
wait, when was this actually? I'm not sure. This was.
Wait, October 2005. Actually, October 2005. No. It started in 2004. Yeah, okay. Yeah, October 2004. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
October 2004.
But anyway,
I was
it was an excellent the first 2 times or whatever.
Of what?
Losing my virginity.
How'd you do it twice?
Because I went back in time.
Right, so you got to do it again. Was it the month that Bleach started?
I can lie and say yes. I can actually say that it was in the process of watching these these episodes. The first one specifically, which is why it touched me so. All right, this is really awkward. Moving on.
Yeah. So, was it specifically when they played that song for Ichigo at the end of the first episode? Where like the lady sings.
No, it's like that sick rap song.
Oh yeah, the fucking opening.
Yeah,
man. The opening.
Yeah, so, I didn't last the whole episode. Like, come on now.
It's like I only lasted maybe halfway through the opening.
No, that that little ditty that I just did. That was the length. Like that was what.
That was probably better than how I would have done in 2004.
Fair enough.
I would have heard that there was an opening.
You would just shook the lady's hand and just.
Well, do you remember Golden Boy?
Yes.
So, do you remember when he shook the girl's hand and his hand turned into a dick? That was funny.
Days in that
That was funny. Being a teenager sucks. It really does.
You don't miss it.
I don't miss it. I mean, it's like, oh, yeah. That was an awkward time. Yeah, so the opening, that's a great place to start us, Thadinator, on the opening.
All right.
The opening was great. So I still think it's one of the best openings of all time. I mean, I remember when I first... I think, did you read the manga before watching it, or watching it?
Watching it was my first exposure to it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, because I guess it's old enough now that I actually should have started us with, rather than where were you in October 2004, should have been what is your first memory of Bleach?
Dude, I distinctly remember getting goosebumps when it played that do like that ditty when he just gets the weapon or whatever and fucks up that guy. Yeah. I was just the nerd chills were real when I saw that. Yeah, hashtag nostalgia.
So how did you watch it? Did you just watch fan subs?
Yeah, just watch fan subs.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, so I was I get to be super hipster about this. So I remember seeing parts of the manga because there used to be a Japanese bookstore near where I lived in 2004, and every once in a while I'd buy the Japanese Jump, I think to read or to keep up with Naruto every once in a while. But I remember seeing Bleach and being like, "Oh, this looks badass."
If only I knew what they were saying.
Yeah, if only I knew what was going on. I had no idea. So I remember when there was a Jump issue that announced. I thought it was the anime, but it was actually for a Jump Festa. It was an OVA. So actually, before the first episode of Bleach, there was one piece of animation that was a promo episode or a pilot, which told the story. I think that's in episodes 8 and 9 of the regular TV show with the Fisher Hollow who killed Ichigo's mom.
Oh, okay.
So it does that story, and it did that story before the Bleach TV show was a thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't see it. I just remember getting really excited when I saw Ichigo in anime form on the cover and being like, "Oh shit, there's a show!" And then it was it's OVA. I was like, "Oh."
Right.
But yeah, your tidbit for that is that the author Kubo Tite, I guess is his last. Is that how you pronounce his name? Because the only other way I was thinking you pronounce it is Tate, and I don't think it's Kubo Tate.
Okay. Kubo Tite.
So I think it's Kubo tight. But anyway, Kubo voiced Khan in the in that OVA.
Oh wow.
For 2 lines, and then he doesn't do it in the TV show, but that's a little bit of trivia. But yeah, so I remember when I think I had school. I remember starting the download for the fan sub of the first episode of Bleach, and then it took all night to download because of internet in 2004.
Yeah, it was my freshman year in college. I think that's when I saw.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so I actually I remember I woke up early for school, like 7 a.m., whatever it was, and I couldn't watch the whole show because I had to go to school, but I remember watching the opening, and that's all I could think about until I got home. That was it. That whole day of school was just fucking
right.
Because I was like, oh, I'll watch the opening. I hope there's an opening. Because, sometimes they fuck with you, and they don't do the opening until the second episode or something. But there it was, right in the first episode, and it just, like, I shat my pants. I had never seen anything that cool.
It did seem really good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I mean, especially back then. I mean, because, that's the thing, is now it's tough to see it like that, I think. Because it's still cool, but it feels hollow, I guess.
Well, it seems like an older... I mean, like, well, the animation, so it was the animation of 10 years ago. So, and also, if you, keep on watching Bleach, it does improve over time with, the technology and stuff like that, for sure. So it's, I almost felt like I was watching, a retro anime style.
Yeah, and I didn't even think the animation for, back then was that good for the first 5 episodes or so.
Oh, when you watched it back then?
Yeah, I remember kind of being disappointed that it was so good in the opening, and then in the show it was kind of stiff.
Right.
And then they kind of got their shit together. I think it was when Ichigo, right before Rukia's brother shows up, I felt like the animation got a lot better.
Right.
But I think that was 14, 15 episodes in, so it took a little while. I mean, that's not unlike Naruto, too. Naruto was similar with that, where, the first few aren't exactly spectacular, and then it did that arc on the bridge. That ended with the fight on the bridge.
I hear, a Google Hangout. Is that me or you? I hear, a ringing.
Ringing?
Yeah, do you hear that?
Oh, I don't hear a ringing, no.
Why am I ringing? What on earth is going on?
Are you having an aneurysm?
It must be. I just ended it, whatever it was.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't hear anything. So.
It's weird. I just started closing files. I have a lot of Google Chrome things.
Yeah, I had a thing where some websites have these sneaky advertisements now where they'll start playing a video and you can't find it because it's in some weird bottom corner.
Right, and you just hear this noise and it's always obnoxiously loud.
Yeah, and especially, if it has some issue, and so it pauses and stops and then starts back up again.
Right.
So anyway, long story short, I was I remember being blown away by the opening, and then being a little frustrated that the animation in the episode wasn't that good, and then also they changed stuff. So I guess we'll just get right into the notes that we've got for the episode.
Yeah.
So I don't remember. So they start in Hueco Mundo.
Okay.
And I don't remember that happening. I remember when I watched the show being in the first time being oh, wow, I didn't know it looked like that. Do you remember that? Was this the first time we saw the Hollow world, or was that in the manga? I can't remember.
That shadowy whatever area? Yeah, that was really interesting to me. And I was wondering, where that was. Is that the place with all where all this Spanish Hollow people or whatever?
Yeah, I mean later they go to the world of the Hollows and it's kind of deserty, but it doesn't look like that.
Right, but it is the same sort of location, right?
I think it's supposed to be the same place.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. It was a trippy scene though. It was really cool. Yeah, it was really cool. A lot of gradation or just it was all white and white and black. Yeah,
and it was cool how the Hollows kind of came out of the shadows as these kind of amorphous, almost blobby shape.
Right.
If that's what amorphous, means. I didn't mean to repeat that, but it was cool. It was just cool.
Yeah, I didn't remember that. A lot of this I didn't really remember, and also a lot of it I felt like has changed a lot throughout the Bleach series, and I want to say almost for the in a bad way.
Yeah, it was hard to watch this without thinking about all the bullshit that happens later.
Yeah.
I think it's much better right here.
Yeah, well, the family seems to matter. Like there was actually a scene where, I mean, I forgot that they worked at a hospital.
Completely forgot.
And where the dad was doing work stuff there, and I thought that the hollows were really interesting too, and they just sort of stopped happening, and spirits sort of stopped happening in the same sort of way, so it's just pretty wild in my opinion.
Yeah, it was interesting how I totally forgot that they ran a clinic. I forgot that it was kind of nice to see depth being given to especially Ichigo's sisters, Karen and Yuzu. Right. So I think it's Karen who says that she can see ghosts.
But just because she can see it, it doesn't mean that she believes them.
She believes. So she's like, if I don't believe in them, they don't exist.
Yeah, and I thought that was really... Because didn't Karen get, beat up that one time, too? But, she couldn't see the ghost or the hollow that was attacking her? Or was that someone else? Because I was a little confused. Because I was like...
So, in episode 1... Yuzu's the one who runs up to Ichigo's room and is all injured, but then Karen's the one who's grabbed by it. But I don't think it's clear. I guess she can see the hollow.
But it seemed... I don't know. I was under the impression that she couldn't, but she should be able to.
Yeah.
So.
She should be able to, yeah, because their dad couldn't see them, and Yuzu couldn't see them.
Right. But Yuzu, or the youngest sister, she could sense them. The dad just didn't have a fucking clue.
Yeah, which of course we find out is bullshit.
Hey, spoiler! Come on.
Yeah, spoilers.
Jesus, calm down.
But it was hard to watch this guy without thinking about that. That was tough. But yeah, it was not clear if Karen could see the hollow or not.
Right. But I mean, for the most part, I really liked the first episode as an introductory episode. I really think that Rukia's character was much more interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Way more. I liked the kind of an asshole part of her, and I just don't remember any of that in the later episodes. I feel like she has such a dominant presence, and then it becomes much less. I don't know,
yeah, I feel like Rukia, especially in these first 5 episodes, is just a really great character. Yeah. And I feel like the more powerful Ichigo gets, the crappier she becomes.
Yeah.
Until it's the capture arc, and then she's
the damsel in distress.
Yeah, and then she never really comes back from that, because after that I feel like Kubo should have made her more powerful, because she's just so weak. I think she only got a Bankai in the most recent arc that's going on now. I think it was a year or 2 ago, but it was just really,
which was cool, and then she beat the person that she was fighting, but it's still I just feel like that her presence in the first 5 episodes is awesome. I really like the comedy when she does the drawings.
Oh, that's great.
It was so funny. Like when she draws to try to explain things, and she's such a, kind of a bitch. She's kind of a bitch, but then she draws these cute little cuddly bears, and I was here.
Yeah. She's describing a really fucked up world with really adorable pictures.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I thought it was a really strong first episode. My only the only thing I didn't really like is when Ichigo runs into Rukia on the street before she goes to his room. Where she kills that hollow, and then she just walks away from him.
Right.
I felt like that. I don't think that happens in the manga. And I felt like I actually like her showing up in his room as being the first time he sees her. I think it's actually a little bit deflated. That they kind of already gave her a big intro scene. I mean, it's cool that she kills a hollow, but I mean, I guess it shows how strong she is. But I just felt like that opening scene where she comes through his wall is just awesome. It's just so cool.
I thought it was also like hilarious. I didn't notice like him seeing her on the street versus him seeing her in the room. I think it would have been weird if it was just like if he hadn't seen her beforehand, and then there's just this person showed up in her room. Oh wait, are you talking about when she walked in, or are you talking about when she was like sleeping there?
When she walked in, because she's in the closet later. I think that's episode 4.
That scene was
and that's fucking
awesome.
hilarious.
Yeah.
That's really funny. And what's really funny too is she tells like the salaryman that she cleanses and that's following Ichigo, and she tells all the other ghosts that they encounter before they get cleansed that, oh yeah, Soul Society rocks. Like it's so much cooler than here. Like it's gonna be, you get to see the people you like. But again, another thing that's kind of hard to swallow after going through more of the story is that Soul Society actually sucks, right? There's the cool city, but that all the Shinigami live in, but then there's like, you just go to a ghetto, basically. Mm-hmm. I mean, isn't that right? You just kind of go to this huge ghetto.
I mean,
and you're living in a shack.
I think that the way that they sort of, my understanding of Soul Society is that it's a giant world and that there are lots of different cities. So it's like, Soul Society is like a major city, and they might travel and see some ghettos and stuff like that, but then there also might be some other nicer areas. Although I don't think that they actually saw any of the nicer areas that I can recall, but it was like not necessarily the point of the visit. Like I saw it more as a balanced thing as opposed to like here's the castle and then all you guys on the outside are serfs. Which it could have actually be like that. I don't know. I'm not like huge.
I just don't remember. Yeah. And I just remember, these scenes where they're outside of like the castle area with all the Shinigami, and it's just shacks, and everybody's in like rags.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, this sucks, right?
And then, well, like everything. I don't know. I feel like a lot of the different things about the worlds change and a lot of the different plot points change. Like right now, saving spirits and defeating hollows are a pretty major focus. And then that switched to just defeating hollows. And then pretty much hollows, I mean, they're sort of like then hollows become, instead of these, what did you say, amorphic, blob-like, whatever things with a mask, they become more and more like people.
Yeah, they're just people with like a quarter of a mask.
Right, with like a little and a number or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's like it just changes a lot. I mean like right now I think the spirits, like saving the good people or whatever, like the little boy in episode 4 and 5, and like the brother in 3 or in 2 and 3, and even like the salaryman and stuff like that. Like that seemed so interesting to me, and then it just stops, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, and it's strange too, because I feel like a lot of the heart of the show are in those scenes. So I mean, they really make a point of making you feel something for these ghosts,
right? And the whole idea that there's like a hell. Because there's those big hell gates, and then like there's all of this stuff that's going on, and then I feel like they just sort of focus on one part and completely forget about everything else. So it's almost like this is a massive world, but then doesn't like expose you to all of it.
Well, the Hellgate thing is interesting because I had totally forgotten about that. So when it showed up, I guess that's episode 5.
I forgot about the spirits. I mean, like I vaguely remembered, but like I just remembered like the little parrot boy. I didn't remember anyone else.
Yeah, I totally forgot about the Hell realm.
Yeah,
and it's funny that I don't think it ever shows up again.
I don't think so.
Yeah, and I looked it up, and there's a movie, the fourth, and I think it's the last Bleach movie in 2010. they go to hell. So they did that in a movie, but
that wasn't in the manga.
No, it's not in the manga at all. It's just a side story. And I think it's funny that it's so cool in episode 5 and such a huge, like you never see what's behind the door. This big hand comes out and stabs the fuck out of that hollow, and then never again.
Right.
Never again. It never gets discussed.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't even, and that's something that they could have tied in with the Aizen story or something. You know what I mean? Like, it just, again, I think you really catch that, which is there's a huge world that never gets fleshed out, ever.
Right.
I think he just, and I feel like Kubo's big problem is he introduces so many characters. We also never get back to the core cast. They completely get forgotten.
Right. Whereas like Chad specifically seemed like a fucking baller in episode like 4 and 5. She just sort of seems like a klutz, and she sort of maintains sort of being a klutz for the entire series. But like Chad like seemed like a freaking tank. It was like really cool.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's in Rukia. I feel like everyone gets dwarfed by Bleach. It sounds like right now it sounds like we're kind of ragging on it a lot, but I think ultimately that the series is great. Like when I watch it all, like when I've watched it and kept up with it, these things haven't bothered me. But going back and watching the first 5 episodes, I'm like, when was this person cool? When did Rukia have like a strong presence? And like that's when like these are the things that I noticed after watching the whole series and then watching the first 5 episodes again.
Yeah, I feel like Kubo does well because he sells stuff so well. Like, he will sell you fights and big character introduction scenes, and like he'll sell you the big scenes. I think just based on his art and his paneling in the comic, just by that alone.
Yeah.
So I think, and everybody is so cool. The monsters are awesome. The bad guys are usually super awesome. And the fights are really interesting, but that's all he relies on. So I think it's really frustrating because he has the talent. He has the artistic talent for sure. I mean, his characters are great, and he has a great cast, and he has a really interesting world. But I feel like right now and I guess, you could consider the Soul Society rescue arc, that's peak Bleach. I feel like that was really the biggest 3 or 4 ideas he had when he started the series.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it just gets really, really stretched out and really muddled. Because you never really learn more. I mean, you sort of learn more about the world, but I feel like it gets really mixed up, as in some stuff should have just been dealt with way before. And by the time stuff happens, he still sells it perfectly. I mean, he just does a great scene, but it doesn't have that, it's like, okay, but this would have been nice 5 years ago. like I had forgotten how long the Arankar arc is.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was just looking over it on Wikipedia and going through some of the episodes. By the way, we watched this on Crunchyroll, so anybody who wants to, I didn't say that at the beginning. Yeah, it's all on Crunchyroll. But so there's 366 episodes of the anime. There's almost, I think, 70 books in the manga. And, I jumped to the last episode of the anime, and I was really surprised how little development there was, especially from the beginning. Basically, you get all this character development in the first couple of arcs, and then it just all goes by the wayside.
Are you saying that focuses just on the fights and stuff?
Yeah, I think too much on the fights. The fights are too long, and I think the major problem that the series gets into is that Ichigo is really strong.
Yeah, it becomes too powerful.
Yeah, he becomes way too powerful, and he becomes like
Goku.
And it turns into a game
right?
of well, yeah. Whereas Goku was, Goku did the ass pulls too, but I felt like Bleach does this thing where Ichigo suddenly has a hollow inside of him, and then suddenly, I think in the current arc, it's revealed that his mom's a Quincy or something like that.
Right.
And then before that, it's revealed that Aizen actually plotted out everything that happened in the beginning of the show just to get Ichigo to a certain point. So everything was part of Aizen's plot. So it was just like, okay, everything was Aizen. Everything was Aizen.
Yeah.
And that got really tired. And then, Ichigo kept getting these really weird power-ups that were like, oh, you're part Quincy, you're part Hollow, and you're human, and you're a Soul Eater.
Right. It's almost like he has to have power from all of the aspects in this universe.
Yeah, and it's just, instead of exploring the universe, we just, Ichigo we just explore Ichigo's genetics, basically.
and I feel like that sort of takes away from everyone else's power,
absolutely. I mean, because he dwarfs everybody completely.
Right.
And nobody else, other people will get different powers and little power-ups, but nothing compared to what he gets.
I think that if they just sort of stuck with the Hollow thing, it would have been fine. Because then he was the only person that was half Hollow, and then the Quincy guy would be the Quincy guy, and then I've never really understood where Inoue and Chad got their powers from.
Yeah, I think that gets explained in the episodes that are kind of right after what we stopped watching at episode 5. I think that comes up.
Oh, I didn't think that they actually got their powers until they went into Soul Society.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I kind of forget how that works. Did something happen where they kind of slowly awakened their powers, and then they got trained by the hat and sandals?
Hat and sandals. I don't know. I mean, honestly, it's been so long since I've watched it, but and I also I kind of think that the people that they defeated were the gag enemies as well.
Yeah.
You know,
which is funny because it felt really badass when if you don't know what happens later. Yeah, and that's where I think it's really frustrating, because I actually really liked it when Ichigo was fighting the Arankars like Grimmjow and stuff like that, and he could use his Hollow form, he could get a mask, and it would give him a boost. That I thought that was cool, but then it just lost me.
I think we may have delved too far away from the first 5 episodes. We should probably.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it really does just highlight though that it's interesting that this is an 11-year-old show.
Yeah, it is.
Or these episodes
massive.
are 11 years old. And it's just huge, and it's still going on, which is also
the manga's still going on. The anime completely.
Yeah, the anime ended in 2012, I think, and so it's doing. I hope it doesn't do this for the people who really like it, but it looks like the whole last arc is not going to be animated, because I think it's pretty close to ending.
I mean, I sort of felt that way, but that was 4 months ago when.
Yeah, I was
so. I thought it was going to end around when Naruto ended.
Yeah, I think about a year ago. Yeah, like you said, I had that feeling. We're almost there, and then it didn't end. So yeah. So yeah, back to these first 5. I really think this is. I just remember being so excited when I first watched it.
I think the first 5 episodes were just done in an excellent way.
Oh yeah. And I really enjoyed, so in episode 2, I really liked how he goes back to school and Rukia is just at school.
Yeah.
she wrote on her.
It's if you make a scene, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Which, is a great aspect of her personality.
Yeah, she's fabulous.
Not to complain about the future again, but it disappears. She doesn't like that anymore.
Yeah, it's frustrating. It's really frustrating. And I thought it was funny how he remembers what she did. I mean, she, if it wasn't for her, he and his whole family would have been eaten. I mean, I guess. I mean, this is not
right.
Not going to discuss stuff that we learn later. But so what's funny about that is it's cool when I just thought it was really funny when she's like, "Yeah, you're going to have to be Soul Reaper for me because I gave you you took all my power." Right. And I think it's really funny where he maintains this sort of, well, I'm not going to do that. He was like, "Fuck that." But then,
which I liked.
I thought it was funny because I think they try to sell him as being kind of a jerk, but I feel like it never works.
Exactly.
Because he wants to think of himself as like this kind of standoff.
Right, like I'm only doing stuff to help my family.
Yeah, but actually he'll just save everybody.
Right, but like for me, I sort of like at least like the little bit of resistance that he had earlier on, whereas which ended up going away. You know, so like even though he's still just like totally predictable, good character like Naruto, like I'm gonna protect, like he'll always try to protect the little guy, but at least he isn't like I'm always gonna try to protect the little guy. He's like God, I really don't want to, but it's happening right in front of me, so I'm just gonna do it anyway because it's the right thing to do. And like even though he's still always doing it, I like the internal dialogue being a little bit different, you know?
Yeah, and I think that makes him a more interesting character at this point than Naruto, who, like you said, just starts off being like, "Oh, I'm going to become Hokage," and then that's it. He's never not said that,
right?
You know? And there was never a point where he was like, I'm not really feeling it today.
Right. You know what? Like, fuck that village. All right.
It's like volume 50. Naruto wakes up one morning. He's like, not feeling it this volume.
Exactly. You know what? I don't even want to kill this guy with Rasengan. I think I'm just gonna.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just gonna use my clones. Oh no, just kidding. Using Rasengan.
It's like, Sasuke, you're cool. Do whatever you want, man.
You do you, man.
Be yourself. Be yourself, dude. So yeah, Ichigo is refreshing because he's, like you said, there is a little bit of resistance. This is where I forget where I saw it, but I remember in college and stuff. This is the episode where the Orihime like vegetable twirling meme comes from. I don't know if it's a meme anymore. It was back in 2006 for a little while. But where she twirls the
the leak. Yeah, I saw that. It's like there's a song.
There's a song. Yeah, there's a whole song.
I wonder if I can find that. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I know what you're talking about because that brings me back to college, basically.
Right.
Basically, I shouldn't say that, but yeah, it brings me right back. I also liked how Ichigo has a sexy belly shirt in the second episode. I didn't notice that 11 years ago. But,
he has a what?
He has a nice little belly shirt in this episode. His shirt doesn't really cover his midriff.
I didn't even notice that in this episode.
Yeah, so that's episode 2. And again, I know we talked about this a few minutes ago, but the golden scene, and I think it's my favorite scene of the first 5 episodes, is when Ichigo hears a phone ring. He's like, what the fuck is that? And Rukia busts out of his closet. Yes. And he's like, we've got to go now.
Right. Meanwhile, like your friend's like, hey, or his sister's like, hey, I can't find like my pajamas. You know where they are? And she's like missing something else. I think like her blanket.
Or my dress. Yeah, she's missing a dress.
Right. And it's like, I can't find it. It's like, why would I even know where that is? Meanwhile, like, Rukia just fucking stole it. She's just like in the closet. It's like, and like before there, it was like, I'm gonna go home now. She said to him, and he was like, where are you going? It's like, do you want to know? He's like, no, not really. Like her house. Or his house rather. Oh god.
She lives in his fucking closet. Yeah. That's golden. That's just fucking golden. I love that. I love that in 2004. I love that in 2015.
And I love how like her character is like bitchy, but then has like really cute things. Like in the pajamas is really cute. When she uses her like memory wiping thing, it's like a little teddy bear face, you know. But it's like this shit's really serious. It's like it's a teddy bear. It's like, and who knows what they'll remember.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious. It's sort of like the Men in Black memory wipe thing, but she can't choose what their memory is.
Except for like, and I feel like it's like almost like a Pez dispenser, you know, like with like a bouncy of the top of the head thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
it's like really random memories, like a sumo wrestler. What was it? Or he said it was like a sumo wrestler who shot a gun or something.
No, there's like charged into her wall. I think and then.
What's funny is Tatsuki is like, yeah, that's what happened. But you can tell she's like, that's not possible.
Yeah, and then there's also the, how the his family thought that like a truck or whatever ran into the side of them.
Crashed through. And then just left.
Right.
And nobody woke up.
Excuse me, sorry.
Yeah, and I love how fucked up the family house gets in the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, something that I thought that was really interesting is I thought this show was a lot more kiddie than it was. There was like a lot of blood and a lot of violence and some kind of fucked up dark things that happened in like the first 5 episodes that I really didn't remember and wasn't really expecting.
The Hollow stuff is pretty creepy.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when Orihime's brother gets
consumed by them.
Yeah. I mean, that was pretty creepy. Yeah. And I mean, her brother is pretty fucking creepy too. So right. I mean, he's just watching her from outside.
Yeah, a little weird.
I just don't think he had many friends. I think that's really the problem. Is I just don't think he had many friends.
Yeah. Or a girlfriend.
But or a girlfriend. Yeah. This is the first episode where we get into that the Hollows have masks.
Yeah.
And so the big reveal in this episode is that they were once normal humans.
Right. Or spirits or whatever.
Yeah, and I thought that was really cool. That was a really cool idea. Because you're totally sold that they're monsters, as Ichigo is. And then to find out that they're actually people, you're just... I mean, even watching it this time, I didn't really think about it, even though I knew it, if that makes sense. And I was just like, wow, badass. That's awesome.
Right.
I did think it was kind of funny that he was able to recognize Inoe's brother from just a quarter of his face. I thought that was a little funny. He was like, oh, it's that guy.
Right.
It's like, you only saw...
Meanwhile, like, he's just like, hey, don't you recognize my voice? Hey, don't you know who I am? Hey,
yeah.
Hey. She's like, no, I haven't got figured it out.
And then actually, I felt... Now I guess we're in episode 3. I felt actually that her brother, it made more sense that he got really pissed off because he had, Ichigo had just recognized him.
Right.
So he's like, really? You don't even, from my voice? Like you said.
One scene that happened in episode 3 that I thought was kind of funny was like when Ichigo like knocked into Inoue and like didn't give a fuck, and I was like, aren't you gonna like help her up? And he's like, yes. But he like death stared her while he offered his hand. She's like,
she runs away.
Go do something volleyball, blah, and just like books it.
Yeah, that was really funny. Yeah. The school stuff is hilarious. Yeah. Kubo really does the students really well.
I mean, I feel like what they did, and this just sort of dawned on me, so I could be completely full of shit, but the character development that happened in the school stuff right now, I think that they ended up replacing it with that weird fucking wizard dude and like K-On! Or whatever for like comic relief, but that sort of like
Don Kanoji or
whatever.
He was fucking annoying.
But that like didn't actually build the characters. It just was like stupid humor in my.
No, it was used for filler.
Right, but whereas if you just like had more of these like school interactions or whatever that like made maybe Chad or Inoue or whatever like maintain importance and relevance and a presence in the show, as opposed to putting that guy in the show who has no value, in my opinion. I think that would have helped a lot. It's still great. Still watched. I mean, I skipped those episodes, but I still watched everything else. I'm not complaining, but
complaining.
Yes,
yeah.
Complaining.
But so in episode 3, something interesting I noticed is I didn't see it in episode 2, but in 3, Orihime has a really interesting tapestry on the wall behind her. Don't know where she got that. Thought it was kind of a cool little thing. But then I got totally distracted by the creepy bleeding bear.
Yeah.
Which was just there to be fucking creepy for no other reason.
What was the tapestry? Because I don't remember.
It was like it looked kind of like it looked really out of place, basically. It looked just had like weird birds. It looked very
That's what when you say like interesting weird. Literally, it was just interesting weird. Didn't like have any ties to anything.
there's no tie to anything. It just really it stood out to me because of how unlike Orihime it looked, you know? It's like the bear I could understand.
Like it looked dark, whereas I don't know.
Yeah, it's just weird. It just didn't look like that would be in her apartment. But anyway, so I don't know what that was. That was just literally just a non sequitur. And I think this episode is the first time we get a scene of someone skidding on air when Ichigo gets knocked out of the apartment.
Oh, I don't even remember that. But yeah.
Yeah, and that becomes like a big thing later when they're all fighting in the sky all the time. But this is it. This is the first scene where he stops on thin air.
Yes, remember this. This is one of the key things that will remain consistent in the future shows to come.
Yeah, actually, this is one of the few things that will remain absolutely consistent for the next 70 volumes of the manga, or 300 episodes of the anime. So we get a lot of feels in this episode from the bro. Also, it seems like Ichigo, for the first 3 episodes, has a real talent for fucking up in a fight and having a girl save him by getting chewed on by the creature he's fighting.
Good point.
Seems to be like his secret weapon for the first 3 episodes.
Having girls provide themselves as meat shields in order for him to...
Yeah. He's like, oh, I fucked up. Don't worry, she'll step in front and take that hit. And also, like, ouch. I mean, Rukia got bitten. That looked like it hurt. And then Orihime takes that like a fucking champ. You know?
Like, nah, bro, it's cool. I love you.
Yeah. She's like, it's good. She doesn't scream or anything like that. She just gets chomped. Also, I thought it was a little awkward that her brother is kind of biting her boob. It's a little weird.
Yeah, it just sort of seemed... What was the other sort of, like, incest thing? Oh, the father and the daughter from Tora or whatever?
Yeah.
The painting?
Was it? Oh, yeah, that was really creepy.
Yeah. This sort of had, like, that's weird sort of obsessive vibe going on.
Little overly attached.
Exactly. I guess that's what spirits do, and demons.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what makes them hollows or, demons.
Yeah, figured it out.
Yeah, I feel like he felt like it was awkward that he bit her boob, too, because right after that, he's like, I'll kill myself, you know? You know, I think he, like, got the point at that juncture. It wasn't that he bit her. It was just he was like, this feels a little wrong.
It's so real right now.
Yeah, it feels a little wrong. And I kind of wish they didn't draw it like that, because that really took me out of the scene.
He killed himself or biting the boob?
Biting the boob. Just really... I wish that had been just tweaked a little bit.
I don't know how else would you like him? Just like, I don't really... When his mouth is that big, like how else is... I think no matter where he bit her, some area would be...
Well, it sounds bad, but Inoue is mostly boob. So,
I guess that's true.
And it's bad when she, when all the character designs change later in the series, her boobs just get bigger.
Yeah. I remember seeing it and being like, wow, her boobs aren't nearly as massive, like, in these earlier episodes as they end up being. But I didn't really say that was the thing that I noticed.
It's kind of like in One Piece, Nami starts off looking normal at the beginning of the show, and right now it's just ridiculous. They just get bigger every season. Yeah. So that does a little bit of that. I know his brother takes himself out because he feels so shamed by biting his sister's boob. Like you do. There was a really weird scene of him remembering her running towards him as she grew up, laughing. That scene went on for about 45 seconds to a minute too long.
And it was so creepy.
It was really creepy because she's like, ha 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 ha,
right.
Oni-chan!
Like, yes, run towards me, my little sister.
And he's just remembering fondly. I was like,
yeah.
Okay. So, luckily, everybody feels a little awkward. He kills himself. Everybody's like, yeah, that was the thing to do.
That was the right decision right now.
Yeah, Rukia is just like, no, Ichigo, really, that's the right thing to do. That's the right idea. Just let him do that.
You may not have noticed, but this needs to happen.
Yeah, and what's funny is at the end of episode 3, Ichigo says that he's not a fine enough human to begin with, that he would just protect a stranger, but he's not such a total slime as to just stand by and watch someone be hurt.
Right.
That I was just like, okay. Sure, Ichigo. I mean, Ichigo's already shown that he's not exactly a straight A student. But even that I thought was a little dumb. I'm actually pretty surprised Rukia listened to that with a straight face.
Right. It was like, really, man, that makes sense.
I think the appropriate reaction to that would have been to take the. Was that the scene where she had the milk, the drink, or was it in episode 4? I think.
I thought that when he said that specific line, it was like there was a kid on a playground or something like that.
Yeah, that's where it first comes up, and then they sort of wrap up the story by him. I mean, this is where he agrees to be a Soul Reaper.
Right.
I just think that line was really weird. It was just a really strange. She should have just been like, "Sure, okay, you'll be a Soul Reaper, though. Great." However you got yourself to that decision.
Right.
So, episode 4.
This was this was the introduction of Chad, who is the strongest guy in the world, essentially. Ever. Human being. Yeah, this was when I sort of noticed, the large theme of there being a lot of blood in the character, and just violence going on, which I just thought was kind of, I was like, oh wow, for 4 episodes now, people have been, bleeding a lot.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting, too, that before I just thought that Kurakura town was just a shitty place to live, and there's just hollows everywhere, and serial killers and stuff like that. Now, you really see that there's a head hollow sending out mini hollows to fuck with Ichigo. It turns out to be the Fisher, the Grand Kingfisher or something like that, but we don't know that yet. I like the hollow, like you were saying before. I really like the hollows as bad guys.
Yeah,
I feel like they're really cool. I also think it's really cool how they fuck with people before they just eat them. So they'll drop. I mean, Chad takes fucking construction beam like a champ.
Exactly.
He's just like, yeah, no problem.
The beam bends on his back, and he's just like,
yeah,
this is cool.
Kids, don't try this at home. So yeah, I think it's funny how some hollows will really just take enjoyment in fucking with people before they just eat them.
Well, this one specifically, this was when I thought it was really, and let's sort of talk about 4 and 5 together because they were together, and the whole thing about the guy putting the little boy's spirit into a parrot and then just killing everyone around him, it's fucked up. That was dark.
Super fucked up.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's just crazy. And I legitimately the parrot's just this little parrot that's like, hey, sorry, just bad things happen around me. I don't know why. I just want to, see my mom. It's just crazy. It's just it was just really dark and really sad.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
my note for the parakeet is Pollo Tropical.
What?
I guess I was hungry. It's a chain in Florida of chicken, fast food chicken. That was my thought when I saw the parakeet. Don't know what I was thinking when I read that.
May have been on drugs at the time.
Possibly,
I cannot confirm nor deny drugs.
But I thought it was funny in this episode. This is the one I was incorrectly remembering before. This is where she's trying to drink out of the juice, but she doesn't know what a straw is. And I wrote that she doesn't really catch on to that because Soul Society is a little behind, just a little behind. They don't have straws. And I think it's really funny. This is where I started laughing that I know Rukia is trying to stay close to Ichigo, but I think it's really funny how she's so much older than everybody else, and she's hanging out with I think so. My note for this was that she likes hanging out with high school boys, and I thought it was really funny when the other school dude was like, "Welcome to this garden of masculinity." That was hilarious. And as I was thinking about Rukia enjoying hanging out with high school boys, I think, and this is again thinking about, characters that show up later, I think it's because it reminds her of Renji.
Yeah.
He's like really immature.
Yeah, he is really, yeah, you're not wrong.
And he's kind of similar to Ichigo, and I think that's why she just gets along so well with these high school dudes, is because that they're basically, Renji is very similar. So I don't know if Kubo meant that to be a thing, but because she just does really well with people who are far less.
Well, and she herself is also really childish.
Oh yeah, it's funny. She can get the job done, but she's also very.
Or like what was that scene when the guy was like, I'm into older women, so you're safe. It's like. Meanwhile,
and Ichigo's like, actually, no.
Like, exactly.
Actually, no. So we get more of Rukia's drawings in this episode, which is always a joy. Mm-hmm. Ichigo can now grab spirit ribbons, which do we ever see that again?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think that was the one, because I remember when he did that, I was like, oh wow, I don't remember that at all. That's cool. Don't think that's ever a thing. My last note for episode 5 is when Rukia is fighting the the Hollow at the end, because Ichigo has to go and bring his sister back home. My note for that is that the Shinigami spells take too long to cast, so Rukia needs to gain Paragon levels so she can decrease her casting time.
Oh my god, he married. But yeah, that's actually like when she was saying the incantation of that spell, I was like, what's she babbling on about?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, like in the Hollow just stands there, right? He's like, why are you talking to me on my back?
Exactly.
So she needs those Paragon levels, man.
Well, and also later they definitely like decrease the incantation time. Like
oh yeah, wait, and I think they even don't they even skip it entirely sometimes?
You just say Hito and then whatever number it is.
That makes sense. Not this like story that you have to tell.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like there's a thought that you have to do incantations, so like I think that there's a balance when like casting spells, but it's the way they introduced it. I think is like this one's just really powerful, and part of its power is that it doesn't take a long incantation, and like that's when they first like did like the quick Hito thing, if I remember correctly, in like the manga / anime, and then after that all of them were short.
Yeah. Well, I think because the one she gets him with in episode 1, that was pretty short, wasn't
it? Kind of, yeah.
Whereas this one was really long. It was just really stood out to me. It was like, there's no way a Hollow would stand still that long.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, so now episode 5.
I mean, yeah, well, I was sort of talking about them both, and I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 parts.
Yeah, it was just like one big section.
Yeah, I thought, like you were saying before too, I thought it got pretty dark with the parakeet story.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty gruesome. I mean, they don't tell us straight out that the kid died with the mom, but it kind of seems that way.
No, because the the kid actually killed the guy.
But he survived.
Because he grabbed the guy's like leg or whatever, and then I think they both went out the window.
Okay.
That was my. That's how I was assuming the kid died. I don't know how else he would die. Or maybe he was stabbed before he grabbed him. I don't know.
Maybe. I just didn't really catch why he looked older as a ghost. Anyway, I didn't really get that. But and we get some nice, again, even though Ichigo is telling us about all this, we get some nice character development with his younger sisters.
Right.
That was really enjoyable, actually. That was great. You really get a sense that the family, like you said, is really important.
I mean, there's the whole scene when the younger sister was like, oh, I saw what happened to the little kid because I'm like closest to his age or whatever, and the spirit. And it's like all I saw was that his like mom died. He's trying to like get his mom back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
That was pretty crazy.
I like another thing that I thought was cool was when Chad at the end, he was like, when I die, can I run around with you again on the other side? And I was like, well,
yeah,
like you're 15 years old and you're talking about like dying and stuff. But I guess that's sort of like the world that's going on. But
well, I think Chad's seen some shit because he had an interesting upbringing too. Because he was he's a foreigner. Right. So there was that story with his grandfather. I don't really remember the whole thing, but yeah, he's seen some shit.
He's gotten beat up a lot.
Oh yeah, definitely. I really thought it was funny that he couldn't see the hollow, but was punching him anyway. That was pretty funny.
Right, and he nail him and then just start punching like nowhere.
Yeah, and then he breaks the telephone pole to smack the hollow with it. That was also funny.
The guy flies too far away. He throws Rukia at him.
The Rukia rocket is hilarious. Yeah. I love it. That was great.
I just like how she had such a serious face while like being handled like such a like a pillow or whatever.
Yeah. And we got a really tricked out hollow this time too with the leech bomb.
Yeah, that's true.
He's really he's kind of like a Swiss Army knife hollow.
Well, it's like leech bombs and like minions that run around doing his bidding that die and turn into leech bombs and all sorts of other nonsense.
Which is pretty sweet. That was not expected. And then that's it, because we already talked about the hell thing. So, I think it wraps up on a nice note. It was nice to stop at an episode that wasn't a cliffhanger.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is, for this series kind of rare, So, stopped at a nice point, and, it made me really sad that this cast is really good.
Right.
And gets completely superseded by all the thousands of characters that get introduced later.
Yeah. And also, like, I thought it was interesting how they sort of are taking 2 episodes per character in order to, like, really develop them well, also.
Yeah, I really like that. I think they do the same thing with Ishida when he comes in, right? I think they do. I felt like the Ishida story was another 2-parter.
Is that the Quincy?
Yeah, he's the Quincy.
Yeah.
So, the director for the series is Noriyuki Abe, and he animated it. He did the show at Studio Pierrot. I think that's the way to pronounce it. And he's worked for Studio Pierrot for a long time. For that series, well, director, storyboard, episode director, and the animation director. He did Ninku, which was another Jump. I think it was Jump series that was in the mid-90s. Flame of Recca. He was actually the director for the Great Teacher Onizuka anime.
What? This guy's done a lot of awesome stuff. Holy shit.
He's done a lot of fucking sweet stuff. Okay, well, we'll skip that. But and most recently, he directed the 2015 Heroic Legend of Arslan anime.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So, back at it. I'm getting people who worked on Arslan. He didn't do the old series, but he's the director of the new one. So yeah, he's great. I mean, he's really awesome. I mean, one thing that Bleach really has going for it is I felt like in Noriyuki Abe, they found a director who really caught Kubo's style really well.
Right.
Because I feel like it's very sharply done. And I think it reflects the paneling of the manga really well. I mean, because the manga has a very cinematic style to it. And I feel like Abe just does a great job with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the little production point. Otherwise, the show is 366 episodes long. This cast, I mean, the people who made it, I mean, it goes into the hundreds. So, and changes a lot depending on the season. But yeah, so otherwise, the manga is available from Viz, so not hard to find. I think this will probably be the least difficult to find series that I think we've ever done so far. In my memory, the anime is on Crunchyroll. It's on DVD. However you want to see it. But either way, you're in for a long haul. if you're not familiar with the show and you want to get into it. Yeah, I think there's some great ideas in it, and it really was a very enjoyable ride for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it's not every day I would say recommend a 300 plus episode series, but I think Bleach is a pleasure to watch. Ultimately.
Yeah, I think I agree with that, and I think it's also a breeze to go through. It's very well paced. It moves quick, especially at the beginning.
It doesn't have any crazy plot too, so you can even watch it fan subbed while doing other stuff on another screen, and the fights are cool. I don't know. Oh yeah. I think it's just well done. I wouldn't say it's revolutionary. I don't actually think that you can really have a great anime that's over 300 episodes. I think that it's just a consistent good. Does that make sense?
There's some great, and there's some phenomenal fights that happen.
Yeah, there's some really, really amazing scenes, but then there's also some lulls. But I would call Gurren Lagann a great anime. It's 24 episodes, right? No,
27.
27. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bleach. It's going to be interesting to see how influential Bleach is going to be after it's over. Because at the moment it's just been running for so long, it's hard to get any distance from it. Whereas, since Naruto's ended, it's kind of, you can talk about how it wrapped up, you know what I mean? Whereas this, it's still going, and it's been going for so long, it's kind of difficult to say, in total, how I ended up feeling about it. And it's also hard to separate it from all the memories I have of it from all the years I followed it closely.
Right.
But yeah, I'd say overall, the first 5 episodes gets probably I'd give it a 6.5. It's solid, real solid, but not exceptional.
Yeah, what? Yeah, I guess that's. I don't know. I just think that it was good. I mean, I'm trying to think of it in comparison to other animes that we've been watching recently. And I want to say that I kind of like it a lot more than a lot of them. Especially since I think that the characters didn't have super reactive faces for the most part, we were talking about in a lot of the other anime, but they still did a really good job in conveying that emotion between the characters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'd probably give a 7 or an 8 or whatever. They were good. For sure.
Yeah, and I feel like the one thing that Bleach really has going for it, in comparison to some of the other stuff we've seen recently, is that it really takes its time with the supporting cast. And it really, I think that's probably just the episode count that's able to do that. But it really makes sure that we care about them. I mean, even Orihime, who's not, she's not really super deep, but you care about her, and the story with her brother is very sad, and I think you really know this cast well. Whereas I think a lot of the other shows we've watched recently they either don't have that time luxury, or it's just not in the show,
right? Where
the cast is given
that much Tora, attention. For instance. I mean, it's pretty much just Tora. His the lady friends or whatever. They had no real presence.
Yeah, and actually, I think Tora would have been better, like Bleach, basically, if it had been a little more, if the main character had been a little more resistant or kind of not so quick to jump to releasing the demon, and if the surrounding cast was a little more interesting. I mean, for sure, I definitely think Bleach, again, is one of these later shonen series, so it learns its lessons from I think the stuff that came before it, and then ends up making mistakes on its own. But the beginning is fantastic, and Rukia, I think, really is the anchor to the series. I think she really
I mean,
Ichigo,
she's like almost the protagonist, you know.
Oh,
like
yeah.
At least in these earlier episodes.
So like Ichigo, is all over the opening and is on the posters. So you come for Ichigo, you stay for Rukia.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
Rukia really grounds the show, and she's just a really wonderful character. Yeah, perfectly. And they're just a duo that I wish stayed closer together.
Yeah.
Through the whole series, because she really gives a really big heart. So there we go. That's our take on Bleach. Next week we're doing, what are we doing? God Eater.
Yeah, which can also be found on Crunchyroll.
Crunchyroll? Cool. Very cool.
Yeah, and the fifth episode should be out now, actually.
Sweet. All right, so we'll meet you all back here next week for God Eater.
Yep. Take care.
Later.